to the next episode or lesson, and we're gonna continue to use the Moho tutorial manual. And last we left it when we were designing cubes and buildings using 3D options. So I've decided to add more 3D objects as the manual requests us to do. As you can see, they have different shapes and they're going to use shapes. But for me, I just decided to use random drawings. So what I did is okay, hang on. All right, yeah, we're back. I simply just drew random shapes, bang, 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 plotted out my points, and did a random shape. And so on our 3D options, we have 3D options. This tab, how you get it? You double click on the layer tab, and then you get your 3D options, and you pick out your 3D options. So under the 3D options, we have the following options. We have extrude, latte, I think that's how you pronounce it, and inflate, or latte, inflate, extrude. All right, so those are our options. And then in the first one, we have the option of inflate. So I ordered it like that, and we click on inflate, and we leave this all as is on default, and click apply. And as you can see, there's a change. And then we click OK. We can go to latte or lat. 3D options again. Pick on it, lat. Apply. OK. And then we go and extrude. 3D options. And this one is extrude, I believe. Apply. Did we use inflate for this one? Yes. Apply. And then so these are your 3 options of getting 3D effects. So we have inflate. I'm guessing you can use it for objects like balloons, pillows, as in the manual it says they use it for pillows and cushions, etc. And then what you can do when you're animating in the timeline is, well, on the frame 0, you can use the rotation tool, and then you can get the effects to see how they are placed, how they are affecting the 3D plane, and in those views, etc. However you want to. And then when you go into the timeline, okay, let's reset that. I usually use this tool, the rotate layer XY tool, and then from there I can rotate and animate it. Let's say with timeline, and we can animate an object like this. So yeah, that's how you animate on the XYZ axis. And for this one, same thing again. I'm not sure what you can use this for. I guess you could use it for towers, buildings, pipes maybe, and other things like that. And you get your options like that. Whichever object really, I'm not sure what object you decide to use. And for extrude, same thing again. This one has extrude, which I use the most, I think. Extrude and inflate, I think those are the ones you'll use the most, because I think you can use a lot of them for objects, buildings maybe, and for distant buildings you can use that. And yeah, see what you can find out from there. And that's for just random things that we just drew, random little objects that we just drew and inflate. So whichever object in that layer you add other objects, it will have the same effect, the same inflate effect. Go to the other one, create a shape, it will have that effect as well. Create extrude, create a shape there, and it will have the extrude effect. Change colors as you wish, and rotate to see the view. reset view in your timeline frame, you could animate it there and your objects, and I guess you can move the object around as you animate. You can move it around. I believe you should be able to do that. Yeah, there we go. And you can animate it like that. And other things to remember is when you depth sort layers by depth. That's when you have an object behind and in front, and then when you're moving the rotate XYZ, the object behind is further away and the other object is closer to the camera. And then so those are for random objects. Remember, inflate for our random objects that we have is inflate, lathe, or extrude for our 3D options. And then for my second lesson, I have shapes. So as you can see, I've already done the shapes and I've used the options. So we go further into the 3D options. So let's click on the square, this square, and then 3D options. You have already picked extrude. So since I said this is the one that I use the most, you've picked extrude, and then from there you go down to the shading options, and then from here you can pick which style of shading option you want. So there's smooth, tune, hatched, and extrude side color, and you click OK. So you pick whichever one. From this one we pick 3D options, extrude, smooth, apply, OK, and then we go to XY rotation, or you can go to reset view and you can see how these shapes. And I think this will be a cool traffic light. You can have that little traffic light. Maybe in the city you have a city scene and the scene is a changing traffic light, and from there you can create something really cool. And we go into each one if we want to animate each object, and we can animate this object, and this is the smooth effect from the side. You have this smooth effect, and then if you go to this other one, tune effect, it gives you a different effect of tune. And then you go to hatched, gives a hatched effect on the strokes, I believe. And then you go to extrude side color, which I think is the one you'll be using the most. Well, I use the most. And extrude color because I still have control of the side and inside. And I can change its colors how I wish. 3D options, extrude side, shade color, and I can change that to whatever color I want. Apply. And so you can experiment on different shapes, all the way I did triangles. Same thing, you can experiment on the shapes XY, rotate, hatched, tune, smooth. So you have all these cool options, and then if we say preview, to preview how they look, this is how they look in export mode. The hatched, tune, smooth, and extrude side color. Then we close that back down, and then for what I used this that I learned in the manual tutorial, I created a little mini rig of a wheel. So I can imagine you could have your car or a little cart in your animation scene, and you want to put wheels that you can animate, and as it moves forward you can have a 3D effect that you can animate and make useful and make your animation look cool. So let's try going to the timeline, and let's say we start from this option and you just want to turn it a bit. You can turn it a bit and you have your wheel. And then let's say maybe you want it to come from way back, so you go down and you want it to come closer as it turns. You can have it closer as it turns. And maybe follow a curve animation there. So you have your little animation, boom. And it's pretty easy to do using extrude. And you can always play with it, have little effects there, or dust effects, and you've got an animation. You can have a little squash and stretch, add that, and we can squash and stretch it, squash it, and maybe stretch. Maybe reset it from here so it does not squash immediately. And it's coming, then that. You can have little cool animations. And let's try export that and see how it looks in export. So it can be whatever object you want. For me, I just created a quick wheel that we could use when animating. And hopefully it's useful with 3D objects that you can find, maybe a fridge, tables, and all many other things. And then export is done, we have a little wheel, and of course it's nothing that we did much, but this is how you can have your 3D objects in Moho 2D. And hope to catch you in the next lesson. We'll continue to follow the manual, and hopefully it's helpful again. And thank you for watching. See you on the next one.